Hi guys, today we will be reviewing finding the area of rectangles and parallelograms, as well as solving word problems. Our learning target for today is I can determine the area of a rectangle and parallelogram. We will use the formula A equals B times H, or area equals base times height, to solve for the area of rectangles and parallelograms. The base and the height always make the area. We will plug in our known values into the formula and solve for the missing area, base, or height. If we are solving for the area, we will write our answer in units, and those units will always be squared. The height in rectangles will always be on the outside of the shape. The height in parallelograms will always be inside of the shape. Now we will solve some guided practice problems together. In our first guided practice problem, I see that we have a rectangle. Our base is 10 centimeters. And our height on the outside of the shape is 3 centimeters. Our missing value is the value for area. We're not sure what this is, so we will need to plug in our known values into our formula. Area equals base times height. So area will equal 10 for the base times 3 for the height. When we multiply 10 times 3, our area would be 30. Our unit is centimeters, and those units are squared. So our area is 30 centimeters squared. Next, I see a parallelogram. I notice that my base is 8 meters. And my height is 5 meters on the inside of the shape. Again, we will be looking for the area. So we'll use our formula, area equals base times height. So A equals 8 for the base times 5 for the height, and 8 times 5 is 40. Our unit is meters, and the unit would be squared. So our area for this parallelogram is 40 meters squared. Next, we see a rectangle, and we're given the area, 105 centimeters squared. And we're also given the height, 7 centimeters. So we would be looking for the base, in this problem. So we'll use our formula, area equals base times height. So 105 for the area equals, we don't know the base, and we'll multiply by our height of 7 and solve for the base. So we will need to divide by 7 on both sides of our equation to get b by itself. When we do, our base is going to equal 15 centimeters. Next, we see a parallelogram. We're given the area of the parallelogram, 150 feet squared. And we're also given the base, 15 feet. This time, we will be looking for the height. So we'll use our formula, area equals base times height. We'll plug in 150 for the area, and that equals our base of 15 times h for height, and we will need to divide by 15 on both sides of our equation to solve for our height. When we do, we find that our height equals 10 feet. Now we will solve a few word problems together. For each of our word problems, we will need to draw a shape and plug in the values given to us. Then we will write our formula and solve for our missing value. The first problem says Jane wants to plant flowers in her rectangular garden. It tells us that we will be finding a missing value in a rectangle. The dimensions of her garden are 5 5/10 feet by 7 2/10 feet. How many square feet will she need to cover with planting soil? So I'm going to draw a rectangle. And our base is 5 5/10 feet. And our height is 7 2/10 feet. So we will be looking for the area of this rectangle. And we will use the formula area equals base times height. So A equals 5 5/10 for our base times 7 2/10 for our height. When we multiply these two numbers together, we find that our area equals 39 6/10 feet squared. So Jane will need to cover 39 6/10 square feet with planting soil. In our next problem, it says Brianna has a piece of fabric in the shape of a parallelogram? The area of the fabric is 216 centimeters squared, and its height is 12 centimeters. How long is the base of the fabric? So we know we will be looking for the base, and we need to draw a parallelogram for our shape. So I draw two parallel lines and then diagonal lines for my parallelogram, and then erase the extra part of my parallel lines that I don't need. So we know that the area is 216 centimeters squared. And we know the height on the inside of the shape is 12 centimeters. And we are looking for the base. So we will use our formula, area equals base times height. So 216 for the area equals b for the base, our unknown value, times 12 for the height. Next, we would need to divide by 12 on both sides of our equation to get b by itself. When we do, we find that our base is 18 centimeters. Question 1 says, which equation shows how to find the width of a rectangle with an area of 72 inches squared and a length of 8 inches? For this problem, I don't see the words base or height. When we see width for a rectangle, this is the same thing as height. And when we see length, that's the same as base. We can draw a rectangle and plug in our given values. Our area is 72 inches squared, and we know that our length or our base is 8 inches, and then we're looking for the width or our height. So we would need to find an equation that matches our given values and the one that we're looking for. Our formula is area equals base times height. We know the area is 72, and that equals our base or our length in this case of 8. And then we're looking for our height, or in this case, our width. So looking at the answer choices, answer choice C matches with the equation that we wrote. 72 equals 8 times W. Question 2 says, which equation shows how to find the area of a parallelogram with a height of 13 feet and a base length of 9 feet? So we could draw a parallelogram and plug in our given values. We are given the height of 13 feet inside the shape. And we're also given the base, and that's 9 feet. We know our formula for finding the area of a parallelogram is area equals base times height. We are looking for the area. We know the base is 9 and the height is 13. Answer choice A matches with the equation that we wrote. Area, or A, equals 13 times 9. Now you will complete some independent practice on your own. When you finish, remember to check your answers and submit your assignment. You will also complete an exit ticket on finding the area of rectangles and parallelograms in step number 5.